Hi there, how you doing? Back with episode 2 of our lettings guide, the complete guide, tutorial, help, anything else you want to call it, to do with lettings, to guide you through the whole process from the point of buying a property, deciding what you need to buy, how you get a property up for let, going through the legislation, etc, etc. So in episode 1 we just introduced what we were planning on going to do over the next few months. Episode 2 we're going to start off with the beginnings. Now I suppose from a landlord's point of view there are two ways to start out. Either you already have a property and it's empty and you want to let it out and you want to find an agent and go from there. And the other option is that we have you as a buyer looking to invest in property to start a lettings portfolio, or to just invest in a single property, somewhere to put some money into to make it work for you. You may have come into some inheritance or something like that, or a lottery winnings, that would be nice, and you want to go from there. We will later on through the episodes discuss about the different types of ways to let a property and the reasons why you do it in more detail, but I think we just touch on, obviously, if you're looking. So what I'd like to focus on now actually is you're starting out fresh. You don't own a property yet. You think, right, I've got some money together. I've been to see the financial advisor. I've got a deposit. I know what I can afford. What do we do next? We want to buy a property that we can rent out. So there are a few different options you need, or considerations you need to look at this point. Firstly is the financial aspect. It's the buy-to-let mortgages. Now, I've been told today, actually, which is the 20th of November, nearly about 3:45 in the afternoon, the financial advisors here tell us that currently he's sourcing over 1,800 different buy-to-let products on the market right now, which I thought was quite a phenomenal figure. Now, some of those will be purely for kind of business purchasing, a lot for kind of consumer purchasing, but in total nearly 2,000 products for buy-to-let mortgages out there right now. So it actually isn't a bad time to look to do it. The deposit levels that you typically need, we are advised that a bit different from when you're buying a property as your main residential place of living. At the moment, the typical deposit levels are 20 to 25% that are needed to put down to secure a reasonable rate on a decent fixed term mortgage. So that's what you need to be aiming for to put by, depending on what you're going to buy and what you want to invest in, which is what I want to explore right now. Now, I'm just looking at my notes here. What kind of property should you buy if you've got yourself in that position to be able to go out there and start looking at property? Well, I think you have to kind of pull back a bit and see or think about what you want to do in terms of letting. What are you doing it for? What kind of tenant do you want to attract? What areas should you buy in, which are directly linked with the type of tenant you're going to attract? And in what places, what towns, what cities should you buy in to get the best kind of return, or the best capital growth over a longer period of time, depending on why you're investing. I keep saying that because there's a few ways or different types of investment, I suppose. There is the type of investment where you want to buy a property, you want it to get back a decent amount of rent over a period of a year, and it's going to give you a good return on your investment. And we call that the yield, which is the percentage on return, which around our area, in Nuneaton and Bedworth, parts of Coventry, that usually anything over 5% yield is a very good return. So what you tend to look for then is a property that's probably lower end on the price scale, but is getting a good amount of rent. So a terraced house in Nuneaton, for example, may cost you £120,000, but it's going to get you £600 a month back, which is actually a really good yield at this time. The other option is, are you investing your money into property for the long term? Is it going to be your pension pot? Is it going to be something you're going to rely on later on in your life to take money out of? Now, when you're looking at that option, you probably need to look at property that are going to go up in value, or going to have a good chance that their levels of value are going to stay strong over the next, say, 10 to 15 to 20 years. So then you're probably looking at areas a bit further outside the kind of the immediate town centre, city centre areas where you get the high volume of terraced housing, flats, things like that, which often have a quicker turnover of tenancies. So if you're looking at bigger houses, more established residential areas, the tenancies are going to be longer, they're probably going to be looked after more, chances are. You're going to get a higher level of rent, but you're going to have to pay more for that property. So it is more of a longer term investment. And what you're hoping for is, over the longer period of time, is that your investment increases in value. Now that's very, very much linked to the tenants that are in the property, and if you're using an agent to manage your property, how they go about providing that service and what they do to maintain the value of your house. So there are a number of different options out there depending on what you expect to get back. Is it instant profits or is it long-term growth on value? Now, tenant type, what kind of tenants do you want? Are you looking at student letting? Now that could be entering into the world of HMO, multiple occupancy properties, which we don't personally deal with, but we do know people who do. So if you need any advice, just give us a call. And that's where you let by the room. We deal with letting whole properties, the residential units, under one tenancy. So there could be sharers in the property, but they're under one tenancy agreement, not individual agreements per room. So that's first port of call there. Would you want sharers? Are you happy for groups of people to share a house, live in for whatever reason? They may be working in the local area, they may be coming down to work in the local hospital here or something like that, travelling with work, and they need somewhere for 6 months a year, but they want to live together because it's cheaper that way. They share the rent. Do you want to look at your smaller property, your terrace property that are quicker to rent out? They get a very good yield, but you're normally only going to attract, say, the younger renters, the guys who are just looking for their first home because they can't get on the property market to buy because of the deposit levels. So are you going to be entertaining those? Or do you want the more professional, I'll say more professional, but the slightly older couples, young families, bigger families who are going to want to rent a bigger house, have got more affordability, chances are going to be somewhere for a longer period of time, and therefore are they going to be looking at those bigger types of houses. So you've got to give all those areas consideration before you even go and buy something, because if you get it wrong and you buy in the wrong area, the wrong property type, that isn't going to get enough rent back per year, and isn't likely to grow in value over the next 10 to 20 years, then potentially you could lose money and you could lose out. Because you're going to have an empty property that can't rent out, and therefore every month lost over that year effectively takes away from your yearly rent. And then you may have a property that devalues over time, or the area isn't strong enough to support it with local infrastructure, schooling, shops, etc., etc. So you've got to give these areas very, a great deal of thought. And again, it's something, come and speak to the likes of us or an estate agent out there who knows the area really well and can give you that sound advice, whether they've got property for sale there or not, just so you're grounded and you know what you're looking for. You've got all the options open there, and you don't go in kind of with your eyes closed and go and buy something that could eventually cost you a lot more in the long run. So I hope that's good for a bit of a taster for you. Please feel free to comment, ask any questions. If there's anything you think I missed, or anything you'd like us to elaborate on a bit further, please ask, please message us, give us your email address or your phone number. We can give you a call or ping you a message over, give you our thoughts and opinions, and hopefully we can help you from there. But in the meantime, take care out there, and we look forward very much to seeing you in the next episode of our Lettings Guide, and we'll go from there. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.